What's up, beautiful people? I am super excited today to finally I hope my dog loves me. To make this dream come true. So me and Aaron, we
What's up?
decided that it was time to do this for y'all. So what's
Yes.
up, bro? Um,
How you been, man? How you living? How's Cali?
it's not raining, so
What? What?
life. I feel I've said that on multiple things. Like, oh, how's it? Like, it's not raining. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're on the news for right now. Is like massive amounts of flooding everywhere.
So that's like the total trend out there, man. Bring some of that out here, bro, because I was looking at the forecast and it's like yesterday was deathly bone chilling cold and tomorrow it's like 85. I'm like, come on. There's no there's no
Oh, so
medium
so Vegas weather is just like Northern California weather minus the rain.
and weird. Yeah. And super weird, bro. Super weird. Snow, rain, then like, oh my gosh, you're
It
wearing
snowed in
shorts.
Vegas.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
god!
yeah. And 2 days later, people were in the pool. I don't get it.
Holy cow! All right, well, I can dig it.
Yeah,
But so weather forecast for you guys for those of you
yeah.
in Vegas and Northern California. Uh, so Aaron and I, for those of you who don't know, we actually went to high school together. And we both ended up joining the military, and we each kind of we both got into business, but in different facets, right? So Aaron is a very established real estate agent out in Las Vegas. I obviously do personal financing, business financing, and so we thought it would just make sense to really combine forces to bring information to you guys. Talk about some of the things that are going on. Right, today is really going to just be an introduction to us, honestly,
Yeah.
because we want you to know who's talking. We want you to know kind of about us. And so as we start up, Aaron, I love your story just because it's a story of perseverance too. So
Oh,
if you
thank you. I
wouldn't,
appreciate it.
so if you wouldn't mind, man,
Yep.
tell people a little bit more about you and kind of like what you do in Las Vegas and so forth.
Yeah, most definitely. So, like my buddy there, Cameron said, Aaron here, Aaron Bottley with Century 21 Gavish. It's Capiche Real Estate out here in the entertainment capital of the world, if you will. So, been doing this real estate thing here for about 5 years. So, I made the cut, if you will. You know what I mean? So, if anyone's interested in getting in the real estate business, just know it's hard, but you're loving it and you're gonna love it. You know what I mean? So a little bit about myself. Like Cameron said, we went to high school together back in Sacramento. After that, graduating, joining the Army, did that for plus years. Retired out of that. Finished my business degree. Then came to Las Vegas and started doing real estate and loved it ever since. You know, kind of addicting.
Hmm.
So, once again, if ever anybody is really thinking about real estate, I suggest it. It's fun, especially as a veteran, first responders, things of that nature. So, for those who might be disabled or limited to certain limitations, please, as a career, we need more. We need more veterans in this industry.
Hmm. And you moved out to Vegas with like $1,000 in your pocket,
If that, yeah,
yeah, if
yeah,
that.
yeah. If that, man, if that, bro.
So what
Yeah.
sparked that decision?
Honestly, it was when you're at the bottom, there's no way else to go but up. You know what I mean? Purchasing my first home back when I was 19 years old, actually in the Army, it just really sparked that interest and just that love for, oh man, okay, this is something pretty cool. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Something I want to continue to possibly be a part of. And just throughout my tenure in the military, always just kept my ear to the streets of the market, see what was going, and just a lot of things was changing, especially with information and the power of social media.
Yep.
Starting is Things were a lot more accessible for what's going on. So, like Cam said, came to this bad boy with less than $1,000, uh, and spent about 700 to 400 of it taking the real estate test. Because it was difficult for
Yeah.
my yeah for me, but it was worth it 100%. Definitely 10x that.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, it's like things just don't come easy. I mean, I think
No,
it's funny when people are like, oh, well, one shot, one kill type stuff, and it's like
yeah,
realistically, if that's how your life is always running, then maybe you're not doing something hard enough.
Exactly, or not the smart way, because
Yeah,
that's a big thing as well. You know, man, with that $1,000 really investing in education,
yeah,
uh, books, books is a big thing, and knowing the smart way to do things, uh, not recreating the wheel. It's
yeah.
already done. Just follow the steps that was laid out in front of you, and head down and just keep going, man.
Hmm. No, for sure. And that's like, I remember when I joined the military, I
Yeah,
I remember that people told me I was gonna get kicked out.
really? Why?
Oh, yeah, cause man, like
You hardhead?
I didn't like try hard in school. I was kind of a goon in high school. Like,
Yeah, I know.
uh, I mean, obviously growth, right?
Yeah, yeah. What they say, the grow up is real.
Oh, for sure. And so, but I was just, but it was hard. I know it's the Air Force. I was like, oh, it's not hard, but like I had never left California really for the most part, without a parent or a family member, like, leaving to go to join the military from like y'all, everyone knows how it is, like when it comes to
Yeah.
the drill sergeants and stuff. And so I thought it was funny, but it was the hardest thing I ever did. But I will say it was not being in the military was the hardest thing. It was honestly like evolving to be successful in the military. That was the hardest thing I ever did. Because
So
that was
like,
like it was a mindset
conform-
change.
so would you say like conforming to the culture in order to fit the, like, this is what you have to do to
Yeah.
be successful?
It was
Okay.
like being smarter. Like it's not like
Yeah.
you can't run around and do stupid stuff like you did when you were in high school type deal, right?
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. I said, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And so, and that's, 16 and a half years later, here I am, and I had good people to have my back too. Right. And
Okay.
so a little bit about me. So Aaron kind of told you about him. So, I've been a military recruiter now 9 years. I am on my last stint in the Air National Guard. I'm a full-time recruiter out in California. And so I thought I wanted to be a recruiter when I got out of the Air Force. And so when COVID hit, I took the opportunity to create kind of my own recruiting agency with my boy Roy. And so I started filling some positions, things like that. And I realized slowly that actually was not what I wanted to do. And so I had to click the rewind, right? And so I
Yeah.
had a career coach. I had an executive coach, Randy Block, shout out, bro. And
How did
he
you
was
find him, if you don't mind me?
networking. So
Network.
so I used to run a podcast called Scared Money Don't Make Money.
Oh, I like that.
Yep. And so I was doing a lot of LinkedIn stuff, meeting a lot of people, doing a crazy amount of networking. And somebody that I had met was like, hey, you should really talk to my coach, Randy. He was he was a recruiter for 30 years, excuse me, and then decided to become a coach. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So me and him linked up and we started talking. I had him on the podcast and he said, hey, I'd really like to coach you. And I said, yeah, that's cool. I'd appreciate it, but like, I don't have money to pay you. Cause like, I know that you cost top
Yeah.
dollar.
Of
Right.
course.
And he was like, nah, man, I want to coach you for free. Like,
Oh, wow.
or you just slide me whatever you can, because he's like,
Yeah.
I see a lot of potential in you. And I don't want it to be just a monetary thing. Like you're only going to gain in life because you paid someone to help you get to the next level. He's like,
Exactly.
I want to see that. And I was like, I bet. And so he kind of got me into coaching cause I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
I like development. Like I'm good at recruiting. I'm good at things like that, but I am strive when I'm helping people be in a better situation than they're in right now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so,
That's beautiful.
and,
Yeah.
and like holistically, not just like, oh, I got you a better job. It's like,
Yeah.
I want to help you be a better person. Like, and
Person.
so, um, that's when I got into coaching. And then, so as I was in coaching, I then linked up with my boy Glenn, who you met when you came on the
Yep.
podcast.
Great
And
guy.
my mom's in finance. My mom's an accountant, and she's
Oh,
always
I
said,
never knew
like,
that. You
yeah,
never
yeah, yeah.
told me
And
that.
she's always told me, hey, you'd be really good at it. And I was like, yeah, I don't like spreadsheets though.
Yeah.
And so I like
Yeah.
Excel doesn't like,
Yeah.
give me goosebumps when I wake up.
I
And
don't want to send
so
anyone to jail by missing a number. Got
yeah,
it.
I'm good, bro. And so, but through working with Glenn, I realized there was a side of finance I could get into that was like that holistic. Like, when I sit with clients and I go through their spending habits, I go through their savings, I go through their retirement, and we build a plan together, right? Like for the
Correct.
future. Like we talk about like, hey, not one of my clients, but like another associate of mine, they're like, yo, you spend $400 on Starbucks. And they're like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, bro,
Well, yeah.
you spend $400 on Starbucks every month and you don't even realize it.
Yeah,
And
because
you
that $4
or
add up, man.
they add up. Or I had someone I did one with, and they said they had like $4,000 discretionary, which discretionary is money left over at the end of all your
Yeah.
bills.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is it really $4,000? I was like, because I'm waiting for this pot of money. I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I have 4 G's left over. Where's the pot of money? And
Exactly.
there was none. It was still paycheck to paycheck. So on paper,
Okay.
they should have had that much money left over, but they didn't.
Exactly.
And so at that point, that's when, Coach Cam, where I'm like, how do we move forward with this? Like, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that, and that's really helpful, especially in like your industry too. Cause like, how many people want to buy
Correct.
houses and think that
Exactly. A
all they
lot.
got to do is like do a loan, right? So I
Yep.
would imagine you talk to people where you're like, this either isn't possible or you got to do some work.
Yeah, most definitely. And especially what you were going down that rabbit hole about people supposed to having that excess pot of
Yeah.
cash. You know, for example, I know a guy for discretionary terms. We're not going to mention names.
I
So
know a guy.
yeah, I know a guy, So I know this guy, and I went for this listing appointment, and he's like, yeah, we really want to sell this house or our home, me and my wife. But hey, before I show you, let me, we refinance, and let me show you, let me show you the house. All right, so go check out the house, so on and so forth. Oh man, check out this car. Oh wow, bought it in cash and all this other good stuff. Yeah, and I bought my wife this in cash. All right, great, so instead, why don't we take this money that you refinance? You got some money out of it. Let's buy
Yeah.
you an investment property. Well, I have none. Well, you just got this, this car and all that good stuff. Well, that's where I bought it with. Oh, okay. So now that's why you want to sell it and not try to invest in something else. You know what I mean? So it's really not about how much we make. It's just how much what we do with the money that we make. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because there's that good debt, as a financial guru. And then there's that bad debt,
Oh yeah.
I was just talking to a partner of mine last night, actually, about 1031 exchanges, but we're gonna get more into that, So, but it's just having that mindset and that discipline, that you as a coach, you most definitely have to offer, because that's what a lot of things. Because myself, I have multiple coaches,
Yeah.
multiple coaches. Shout out to Ido Gavish, the owner of Century 21 Gavish here in Vegas. He's been a huge mentor, person who just sits down and just, hey man, let's talk. You know what I mean? We'll talk business. He'll talk to me about what he's doing. And he'll also talk to me about having that self-discipline, you know what I mean? To do what you said you're going to do when you're going to do it, and just stick to it, So yeah, big shout out to any coach out there. Keep doing what you're doing, keep reaching out. And if you are trying to get in some sort of flow within your life for this new year, I suggest you go to networking events and go out there and find yourself a coach, because believe it or not, like Cameron said, there's coaches that will actually do it for you for free, because there are coaches out there who are just starting out, so they also need clientele to show, like, hey, let me take you on, let me develop you. Now you're a part of their portfolio, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So everyone wins. So it's really important to go out there and find a coach.
Oh, facts. And it's and coaching is something. So like, even though I've done like a whole bunch of training, like to break it down to the most easiest sense is like, a coach is someone who's like not giving you, just like telling you what to do, right? They help you like think through it.
Exactly.
So like so we all have coaches, people who kind of challenge, people who kind of challenge, our mindset, and kind of the things that we're trying to do, right? Is like,
Right.
hey, why are you doing that? What makes this important?
Nope. I don't have an answer for that. Is there something else I
can
help?
Siri. But anyways, and so so that's the thing, right? Is like, why are you doing this? What makes this important? If this didn't happen, why would this be detrimental to you? Like, I always tell people, when it comes to, coach, when you're doing stuff, especially financially, you have to ask yourself a lot of what questions. What's like, not why, not how, because like why is something where dogs are fighting. Why is something where you almost like justify it to yourself, right?
Yeah.
What is really going to get you to think about the premise of why you're asking that question in the first place, right? And so that's why I always ask that question with my clients is like, what makes, planning for retirement so important? Like what makes it so important now, especially for like my later clients, right? Or, what is the end goal when it comes to this?
Gotcha. Okay. Now, let me ask you a question, especially about that end goal thing, because it's something that I personally learned. It's not about the end goal, but this is just me. It's not about the end goal. It's about that journey. You get what I'm saying? But that's just me. I have a bump on my head. I'm an entrepreneur. That's just I'm gonna keep going until my doctor is like, okay, this is it. You can't do it anymore, man. I gotta chill out. So that journey is something that a lot of people must take heed on and understand, to take the time to smell the roses. And I am guilty. I am guilty for not taking time sometimes, but that's my way of taking time. It's weird. It's just how I'm wired. If I feel like, as an entrepreneur, if I feel like, oh man, I have 2-3 hours in between something, I'm naturally going to find something to do. I'm not just going to sit around and do it. But some people go and I play golf, but
you do.
but not as much as what people may think. It's more, hey, Aaron, we're going to do this. You got some time? Yeah, sure. Why not? I'll go. Mostly on Sundays or something. Yeah. But for the most part, some people go and play golf. Hit a couple of holes or whatever. Or we're in Vegas, so they might go have a restaurant, eat somewhere at a fancy restaurant, or go play their luck in the slots. Like, it is what it is. To the each their own. So yeah, it's a great thing, man. Just pay attention to what matters the most to you and your what and why, as you say.
Yeah, that was something I had to adjust, right? Was the like always filling in the time with something to do.
Yeah.
Like once I like, in recruiting, they're very big on like time management. And that's kind of like, that's what they taught us. They're like, oh yeah, have time management. But what they kind of taught you was like, your schedule needs to be built out completely from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Exactly.
And I remember it was just like stacking. And I was like, wait a minute. And they're like, oh yeah, put your lunch on there. But like, if your lunch was too long, you got yelled at. And so
I feel guilty. Like,
I was like, what do you guys want me to do here, man? So that was something where like, I could probably get a little bit more. I mean, I'm pretty intentional with my time. However, I know sometimes I leave blank space, realistically, to help my mindset. So I don't like fall back into that kind of that drumming of like always having to do something.
Yeah. And also another thing that my buddy was telling me, it's that military mindset as well. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was my girlfriend, actually. She was telling me.
Ooh, you better give those
she was telling me,
bro.
It's a military mindset. It's just something that I was actually just trained to do. And like you said, having your schedule packed for the Army at that time, it was 0630 to about 1700. Doing that. But having the time now that I'm a father of 2 little girls, at a certain time, I'm that's considered block off time. With my family and things of that nature. And it's very important that you even have to put in stuff like that, from even dry cleaning and just a little man, I'm trying to tell you.
Yep. No, for sure. Like, I think like me and a girl are doing something, but it's only going to take up like maybe an hour of the day or hour and a half. So like, I just blocked off like 4 hours. I was just like, time with my girl. She's like, wow, like you just put it on your calendar. I was like, yeah, because otherwise, I'm a fan of automation. So that's something we'll talk about as we do more and more episodes, tricks of the trade and things. But like, if I don't do that, if I'm not intentional with those things, they will get blocked off. I have my Calendly and all these other things. And so like, people don't know that I have something scheduled. So like, I'm really like, yo, if you want my time, you better tell me where to put it on my schedule, because it's disrespectful if someone books your time and then you're like, oh, sorry, I had something else that's more important. And then, And no one wants to feel like that.
No, most definitely is not, especially when they're like in my career field, there's other schedules and times that are sometimes booked up ahead of us or behind us. So
Exactly.
if a client is scheduled to, show a property at X time, if you will, and you have that X time scheduled for 15, 30 minutes, because it doesn't take more than 15 minutes to see a house. It is what it is. You
Facts.
know, um, and that client is, oh, I'm late, they have to understand, like, hey, you're not, now you're clicking on somebody else's time. So
Yeah.
can't get mad if we only have 5 minutes versus the 15 that was scheduled.
Facts.
You have to be, I understand you have other things. Life happens. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
like life happens, but like you said, it's considered kind of disrespectful, if you don't reach out. Like me personally, I try to do everything an hour ahead of time.
Yeah.
So like today, hey man, I'm gonna call you, this time at this date, whatever. I'm gonna be a little late or so on and so forth. Like that is actual. Don't be scared to say you're gonna be late. Don't get in a car wreck trying to race time, because you said it's okay.
Yeah.
Breathe, take time. If you're running behind, shoot a text.
Yeah. Just keep it down. Shoot
Yeah,
text.
exactly. Keep it going. Be safe. Follow the law. Life happens.
Oh, for sure. So what? So what? Why real estate?
It's fun. It's absolutely fun, bro. Like it's really fun. It's really for real estate. You're able to take something and make it to nothing. And I'm talking in general terms as a business, as
Yeah.
not just real estate selling. But that's part of it. You know what I mean? A small part of it, actually. Don't let the TV shows fool you. So
Yeah. Oh,
there's a lot of
facts.
exactly. There's a lot of back office stuff that you're going to go premature gray over. But as businesses as a whole, it was a great avenue to take something from not knowing anyone in the city, because I'm not from Las Vegas.
Oh, for sure.
Building up my reputation, just
Yeah.
reinventing yourself. A lot of these things, getting out, letting people know what you're here to do, and you're actually here to help somebody. Developing a business plan. I actually had fun going back to some of my old college business books and going over SWOT analysis and breaking that down and the importance of
Yeah.
that and how you will have to actually implement that in your business plan. Like that's a really big thing. You know what I mean? You have to know how to look at and not be look at positive things are going to come out of it, and so real estate really was able to leverage my personality, the things that I like to do, uh, and take a lot of those military training and things of that nature and just wrap it all up and just have fun with it, from creating, doing podcasts, doing funny videos and networking engagements and just things like that. I loved it, brother. That's why real estate for me was a no-brainer, because like I said, being retired, getting a pension every month, a lot of people could get really just lazy, if you will, just putting it out there and just,
Yep.
oh man, I want to be a professional gamer, like, which is dope. I also like, shout out, I have a cousin that does that. It's crazy, but it's just one of those things. It's a personality thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know for coaching with you, because coming from the recruiter side, was that a hard transition actually, like going from trying to, hey guys, you want to stay in the army or stay in the Air Force, you know,
Don't
versus yeah, man, you guys want to stay in the Air Force versus, hey, you can do it.
So, two biggest things I think when it comes to the change from being a coach or a recruiter to a coach is being a military person in general,
Okay.
not wanting to solve everybody's problems. Because that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
It comes to us with a problem, especially as you get higher, like I'm Mass Sergeant now, people come to me with problems and I got to try and help them fix it. And so that's number one, is understanding, like, in coaching, it's not my job to fix your problem. It's
Really?
my job to help you talk through your problem, right?
Okay.
And so that's the difference, right? People,
And that's something also like you should really like make sure people know, because I didn't know that as well, because I have coaching, but I look at it differently. You know what I mean?
So like a lot of people can get it misconstrued where like it's actually more mentoring. Like coaching, if you look up the definition, it is legitimately when someone is like a thought partner with you to help you talk through a situation. In retrospect, though, we don't offer any advice. So like if you're going through something, personally, then we talk through it, and then you're the one that comes up with the solutions. I'm not like, oh, you should journal, once a week and talk about it. Like you got to come up with these things on your own.
You got to do the work.
You got to do the work. And so I'm just here to help guide, because like a lot of times what happens, and what I like about coaching a lot too, is when people are speaking, a lot of times they don't really know what they're saying until someone says it back to them. And then people are like, oh, did I just say that?
Did I
Like,
say that?
Is that what I sounded like when I said that? Like, that happened to my buddy of mine. He said all these things, and I was like, so you're doing this thing, even though you didn't like it being done to you when you were a kid, and now as an adult, you're upset about it, but you're doing the same thing to this person, hoping for a different result. And he's just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing, right? It's like
Yeah.
you're not giving advice. And I would say the second thing is, as far as because in recruiting there's a result.
Okay.
Someone walks in your office, the end result is you have put them in the military, and they're happy with what they're doing, they're going, and all that stuff like that.
Correct. Yeah.
With coaching, there might not be a end result that is near in sight. And it's not up to me to decide what that end result is. So that's the other hardest thing, is the expectation, right? So as coaches, when we're starting out early, it can be really hard to want to feel like you're bringing value to the person. And it's funny because a lot of times you may think that you didn't bring any value, and the next time you talk to that person, all they'd say is, man, this helped me open my whole mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I had that happen enough times where I just like let it go. Like I say what I need to say, I talk where we need to talk, and I ask them if they found value, and even if they say no, then I'm like, okay, well, what can we do better then?
Exactly.
And so that's the biggest thing. So I will say taking that to finances, though, has been probably the biggest thing, because finances has been something that I've always been really interested in.
Okay.
I've always been really interested in helping people be better at it. Excuse me. But too many, in my opinion, finance people, or, accountants or financial advisors, planners, whatever, they ask very superficial, top level questions.
Okay.
So, they'll be like, oh, what's the goal? Like, oh, retire. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
How much do you make now? Let me break this down.
Correct. Yeah. But like, how many financial advisors though are like, do you know how much it's going to cost you to survive in the future?
Exactly. For the lifestyle that you want
to have. Do you know where you want to retire at? Do you know what tax bracket you're probably going to be in?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I mean, a lot of them are just like looking for that easy kill, right? Like, oh,
exactly, that instant gratification.
That instant grat, like I know my numbers. Like if someone asks me what my numbers are, I know my numbers, how much I need to bring in per month, what tax bracket that brings me in, how much I need to have by what age, or how much that equates to over a certain amount of time. Like, those are things that honestly the average person is not taught.
Exactly.
And so that's why I really like what I do, because, realistically, I just get nitty gritty with it. Like some people, I'm like, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, I know that you want to retire when you're 65 off $100 a month, but like that's not how this works.
Yeah.
and realistically, if you don't want to make the change as far as to do that, then I'm glad that we talked, but I can't help you.
Exactly, because you have to change the mindset. I was talking to a client investor of mine last night actually, and we were talking about a certain city in another state, and how like, man, something has to be done with this city, you know what I mean? And he said, well, yeah, and I understand and the possibilities that a lot of things happens, but one thing you can do is change the people within that city, in that environment's mindset, because you go up there and you can buy 5, 10, 15, 100 properties, revamp it, make it look really good and all this other stuff, but with the mindset of, that social class there down there,
Yep.
It's going to just keep doing it. So that's one of the hardest things to train a person to do is have that mindset, you know.
Facts. No, and those are some of the things that we'll talk about, right?
Yeah.
So as we end, here's some things to look forward to. You know, every Wednesday, Aaron and I will be here 9:30 a.m.
Sharp.
Pacific Standard Time on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. And so some of the topics we're going to discuss. The U.S. market and how it affects the interest rates.
Yes.
Financial fundamentals in your 20s. Cash versus credit, you know, because
Yes.
that's a big conversation, right?
Leveraging.
My Dave Ramsey folks, like, no,
Yes.
that's horrible. No, bad debt is horrible.
Exactly.
And you know, so Robert Kiyosaki. And
Kiyosaki.
so some of the other things, you know, investing, retirement planning, tax planning, you know, cryptocurrency investing, because I got some of that, estate planning. Aaron's going to talk about, you know, was it 1031 exchanges?
The 1031 exchanges, rental properties, investments, what, you know, situational awareness of what's going on out there, because regardless wherever you're viewing from, there's different markets, you know what I mean? There's still markets out there that's getting crazy offers. So a lot of people need to understand that and keep their ears to the streets. And that's why we're here to supply that information.
Facts. So as we wrap up, appreciate y'all rocking with us for the first time.
Thank you.
Every Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Aaron, any parting last words?
Love you all. Keep, once again, you know, keep doing what you're doing for all those entrepreneurs out there. I know it's really hard. Stick with it. For all those realtors out there, or people who are looking to get in that real estate game, please do not hesitate to reach out, especially for those first responders, police, firemen, military personnel. Please, please, please do not hesitate. There's great opportunities out here. There's jobs, a lot of those great things. Can't wait till our next one.
See y'all next week.
Peace.